that she's encountered. Good morning. Thanks for being with us. What are some of those voter frauds that some people may be committing?
Well, we've got a interesting story that came out on Friday evening out of the Washington Post. And what they did is they worked with a couple of voter integrity groups around the country. And in 3 particular states, they found some very interesting numbers, to say the least, because I don't think any of us really realized they would be that high. First off, in Maryland and Virginia, they found as many as 40,000 non-citizens on the voter rolls. Now, these could be people that are legally in the country, however, they have signed up or been signed up when they get a driver's license, or they, registered, their car to get their insurance papers and all that. So a lot of times, like here in California, you automatically get registered to vote when you go to the DMV, and then you get on jury duty, and that's the way they come and get those numbers. So that may be the way that we're seeing these non-citizens ending up on the voter rolls. Now, in North Carolina, they found that 17,000 or so were in the voter rolls, and that's a substantial number. And as we know, that's a very pivotal race here. The Senate could be decided on the Senate vote there in that state.
With every vote counting, that is crucial. And you have these states who are really pushing for voter IDs being required when you go out to vote. They say may help take care of this problem, but there's some critics saying that may disenfranchise certain communities, minorities, the poor, the elderly.
Well, there's arguments on both sides of it. First of all, it's illegal to vote in an election if you're not an American citizen, just as it's illegal to get on jury duty. It's happening. But the number's very, very small percent. We're looking at 2.2% of that vote actually counting, but in razor-thin margin Senate races, that could be the difference between victory. However, getting back to your question on the voter ID, there are groups out there saying that it will suppress minority and poor voters because they just simply don't have the means to get an ID. However, when you go to a bank and say you cash a check, you need an ID. When you go to the grocery store and if you want to buy Sudafed, over-the-counter medication for colds, you have to present an ID. So I think that you could look at it both ways.
The question here would be, how is it that if they're non-citizens, how are they getting the material to vote? We need to look at the DMV. How are they not vetting these non-residents and getting the material there? I think that's where the problem needs to be fixed.
That's maybe where it needs to be fixed. However, when we look at our country and we see that, voting, it's the cornerstone of our republic, and our democracy depends on integrity at the polls. And when we have people who are convicted of, say, drug crimes when they're younger, they have a hard time regaining. This country fights them tooth and nail to get the right to vote again. So why are we fighting those people who are actually legal in the country?
Right, and we're pushing in these recent days, and last who are trying to push people to come out to vote. So.
One last point, Americans, we all have a right to go out and vote, and we maybe need to take it upon ourselves here to actually make sure that people who are in the country legally as non-citizens actually know the rules that they cannot vote.
Kimberly DeVar, thanks for being with us this morning.